So I think this will be a good fit for us because I don't want to do what you, I think I understand what you do. Okay. I have a lot of ideas, and being a fireman, I always was the problem solver. Firemen in general have to be problem solvers because it's not like, oh, well, we can't do that. Sorry. You're pinned in a car, but we don't know how to get you out. I mean, it's always changing. You know what I mean? And when you look at something and you go, that really frustrates me. Not that I'm a smart person, but I just have the mind that goes, there's always a better way. That's kind of my motto,
Yeah.
And so I have, X amount of ideas. Probably half of them are trash, but it doesn't matter. All it takes is one or two to be successful. So if I can come up with the idea, come up with a small prototype or napkin idea, whatever, and go here, and you run with it, and we both make a lot of money, everybody's happy. That's kind of that's what I'm looking for. And I was so happy when I came to the trade show and talked to that guy that had the finger leveler. And, he's kind of like me. The brief time I talked to him, he's kind of like a blue collar guy, not real good with computers. You know what I mean? Just,
Jay, his name is Jay. I think he's going to be at the meeting tonight. So it'll be fun to have, there will be a lot of inventors there from all walks of the inventing life. So it should be a good meeting.
Yeah. What meeting's that? You're having a different.
The Inventors Roundtable meeting. Did I send you a link yet?
I don't.
I'll double check and send you a link.
Okay. What time is that?
It's going to be at 8:00 Eastern.
Okay. We're going to Beauty and the Beast tonight. So that starts at 7:30. So I would love to be there, but we've had these tickets for a long time.
No. We do this every month. In fact, we have one that is on the fourth Monday. That is at 6:00 Eastern time. Okay. And then on the second Thursday, the meetings are at 8:00 because we're reaching, the West Coast.
Different time zone. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So anyway, I think this will work. I got two I want to show you.
Okay.
Thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. So quick backstory. I'm cleaning the gutters out of my leaves and, all the junk that comes in the gutters, throwing it onto the grassy ground, some on the driveway. And then I'm like, okay, how do I get this up? I'm trying to use a garbage bag to sweep it in. I'm trying to use a rake, but it won't work because then you got to hold the bag and the rake won't work. And I go grab a 5-gallon bucket, but it's round and I can't figure it out. And I'm like, how do I get all this crap out of my yard? I'm sitting there and it literally comes and goes, why don't we make a flat edge on the bucket? And I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll get my dustpan. Well, I can't find my dustpan. So I can try to sweep it in the dustpan, pour it in the bucket. That doesn't work. So I made what I call a dust bucket. The other problem I always find with buckets is you can't pour liquid out of them accurately because it's such a rounded edge.
Yeah.
So I have these two prototypes, and this is a size of a 1-gallon bucket because the cost of 3D printing this was astronomical.
I'm sure it was.
So I have a different version of this. So basically, you have a 5-gallon bucket. This bucket will nest with regular 5-gallon buckets. So if you're a contractor and you have 6 buckets and you want 1 or 2 of these, they all will stack with each other. They won't take up more space in your, for a contractor that, like electrical contractor that's cleaning up a job site, sweeping up, this is the perfect way. You don't have to find your dustpan. You don't even have to use your dustpan. You don't even need a dustpan.
Right.
So they nest together. So you lay this down, you put your foot on top of it, and you sweep in all your debris. It'll have a handle on it eventually. Yeah. And then if you're wanting to pour something, you have your pour spout.
I like that. And I don't know if you've thought of this. All I can do is tell you what I've heard in the past about what could be an issue and then a possible solution. All right. So people who already have buckets say, it would be nice, but I've already got a half a dozen buckets. All right. Manufacturers who look at it now are looking seriously at the cost of the plastic, just like you did with the prototype. Is it possible to make a snap-on lid for the various sizes of buckets so that they could all you had to manufacture or your licensee had to manufacture was the lip that had the flat side. It would sit down inside, maybe, the 1 gallon. It would sit down inside, the bigger Home Depot ones, but they could make various sizes that would fit down. So now the consumer is only buying the lip instead of a brand new bucket. They're able to use the other buckets they already have. And your cost, the licensee's cost of manufacturing would be a lot less.
Right. So there's already one of those on the market. They sell it at Lowe's.
Okay.
But the problem is it breaks. It's a round donut and it's very fragile. So in a contractor, maybe in my home, it would be okay. But I'm thinking more contractors.
Okay.
Contractors, their buckets break all the time.
Right.
I mean, they crack and they break and they throw them away and they get new ones, especially guys that do tile and different things like that.
Okay.
So the one at Lowe's, it does snap on. Now, they make buckets that do not accept lids. Okay.
Right.
Well, if that bucket you have does not accept a lid, it doesn't have the proper ridging around it to accept this device.
Okay.
So when you go to put it on and you tip it over, it's going to fall off. It's not secure.
Okay.
So yes, it's out there. Yes, it's cheap. It is kind of, but to me, I can't find my dustpan. I won't be able to find this when I go to use it, and it's still going to break.
Yeah.
All
right.
Again, it's a round, fragile thing. So, I know this is expensive to manufacture.
Right.
I've gotten prices for a mold for this anywhere from $80,000 to $120,000.
Right.
So, but if this is a better mousetrap in somebody's eyes, then it'll work. So I'm going one step further with this. So have you ever poured paint out of a 5-gallon bucket?
Oh God. Yes.
Okay. The pour spout in the middle that you have to pull up, and then you pull the little plastic thing
Yes.
out.
Yes.
Okay? What happens when you start pouring that?
Oh, it goes everywhere. Except
Because
where you
there's
want
no air that can get in.
Right,
So you have
right.
to poke a hole in the lid.
You get the glug, glug, glug. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I'm having this redesigned right now to make this completely flat.
Okay.
I'm going to put a lid on it. And the lid is going to have a pop-up resealable deal here.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So instead of going through the process with an air will be able to get in here, so it won't do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, of course, air won't be able to get in if you turn the bucket like this. But if you're trying to pour paint accurately and you just pour a little bit at a time, air will be able to get in. And you pull it's like your coffee cup with the lid from Starbucks. You pull that lid back, and then when you're done, you push it, put it back.
Right.
It's
Right.
the same concept. So they're redesigning this to be flat. So they're drawing a lid for the bucket with that attachment.
Okay.
Well, not attachment, but that accessory.
Right. Okay. All right. So you're covering multiple bases with one item, one bucket.
So So my thinking is, when it comes to the painting industry, the oil industry, I mean, you know how many buckets of hydraulic oil are sold every day in the United States? Lots. I was in the trucking industry, and my boss bought hundreds of buckets of oil between hydraulic and all kinds of things monthly. I mean, and once you're done with that bucket, there's no use for it besides construction and whatever else.
Right.
If I go buy my 5-gallon thing of paint or oil, I clean it out, and now I have a dust bucket and a pour spout. I can get rid of the lid if I want to, but now I have multiple uses.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. So we can certainly address, I mean, my questions that come from experience as far as, what I want to hear. So being able then to respond back to somebody who's asking me those questions is always a good tool to have.
Right.
And I don't know your answers unless I ask the question and you give them to me. So I understand, living up here and, in the forest land and using all of that stuff. One of the big ones that we just noticed was that powdery concrete stuff that we end up buying bags of up here. The bags just break. So being able to we were putting it into a bucket that we could not pour anything out of because it would go everywhere.
Right.
So, I mean, and I'm sweeping stuff up all the time, and my husband's always looking for the dustpan. It's like, stop moving the dustpan.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you always want to find things to go to mass market. So between contractors, the vehicle, their vehicles, every homeowner garage needs at least one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, not that. So anyway, that's it's called the dust bucket. I have a sell sheet on it that I could send you.
You can put it into the file when I send you the file link.
Okay.
And that way just load it in there. That way we're always looking at the newest iteration of it. Whenever you update it or you make a change, put a date on it.
Okay.
All right. Otherwise, we end up with 5 videos and they all say latest version, latest version, latest version. It's like, oh, come on, guys.
Okay.
Latest version doesn't mean anything to me 2 weeks later.
Right.
So date, everything's got to have a date on it.
Okay.
So then where are you? You've got your prototypes. Have you had the search done yet?
Well, I've done my own search.
Right.
And this is the one I was telling you about. So I went through and filed my own provisional.
Right.
So this has a provisional on the USPTO website. Okay.
Right.
I went online.
It's not on the website. It's not made public.
Well, I mean, it's
in their files.
In their files.
Yes. You got a number.
Right. So there's some other buckets on the market. Number one, there's a bucket that has a complete flat side, which is not anything close to this because their bucket can't nest with my regular 5-gallon bucket.
Right.
So then there's a couple other variations, but nothing with the pour spout and a dustpan attachment bucket thing on there. So no, but I've not had a formal search done. No.
All right. Get the search done because if it's been done anywhere in the world, you will not be granted a U.S. patent. It is that simple.
So that's when you pay or I pay you the $500 to have that done.
Right. And that way then you can look at it. And then when licensees, all right, want a registered patent attorney to have filed the non-provisional.
Right.
They're not so concerned about the provisionals. Some folks are pretty good at writing them. A good provisional that we see is somewhere, around 12 pages plus drawings. So if you tell me it's like, it's 2 paragraphs, it's like probably not going to stand up in court. Right. But most folks that have paid some attention to it can get a provisional done. We look at a full utility or the non-provisional being somewhere between 30 and 40 hours. And that the provisional then is the front half of that. So for some inventors, it's like, no, I want something that I know is going to stand up in court, or why am I doing this? And, it gives them time to kind of spread out the payments. So we're looking usually at 12 to 15 hours and then about 20 hours on the backside within the year. Okay. So something to keep in mind. But the search is the important part because that USPTO has got a 2.5-year blind spot. All right. Provisional patent applications are for a year. And then it's 18 months before the non-provisional is published. So it's a 2.5-year blind spot that no one can access. But the product search that gets done with SearchQuest squeezes the blind spot because they go out and they look for videos that were posted on YouTube. They look for trade shows where new products were launched. They'll go look for websites. So that, if you get something back and it says, patent pending, you can figure, all right, it's in the blind spot and the USPTO doesn't have it, on their radar yet, even though it's in the files, just like yours wouldn't show up yet.
Right.
All right. So, that's what you want to know, because that way, then the attorney, when they write the patent, can say, all right, we need to word it this way. So you've got a chance of getting around this one. Right. And a lot of times, the inventor, when you're doing it pro se, you don't realize the nuances that the examiner is going to consider to throw it out.
Right.
Because they're taught to throw out everything.
Right.
They look at you as like a 16-year-old going through your first driver's test. They tell you no.
Right. Okay. All right. So first impressions, do you like it? Do you think it's something that you would want to look at as long as first
impression, if I was going to the store and looking for a bucket, that's the one I would pick up instead of the round one, because, anybody who's bought one that is simply a round one knows they're okay. They work to a degree, but they're not the be all and end all. And so if you pay $5 more for one that, you can scoop it up and not have to worry about the dustpan, if you can pour it accurately, because there's nothing that you put into the bucket that you don't have to empty the bucket eventually.
Right. Right.
Now, I generally put a trash bag in there so I can pull the trash bag out.
Right.
But that's the only way I can do it without spilling it, especially, when I'm doing dog stuff.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
We got 2 huskies. They create their own crazy.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. I'll probably move. So you send me an invoice right away and I pay it, and then you have the attorneys do it, or the attorney send me the invoice, or?
The attorneys don't do the search. It's a conflict of interest for them to do the search.
Okay.
And we don't want to be paying their hourly rate to search. All right.
Okay.
Librarians with a master's in research do the search. And so they go from thinking in billable time to thinking, I didn't find it, why not? So a different kind of mindset that
Okay.
we want to involve. So they don't give a legal opinion, they send it to you. It allows you then to frame the questions for the attorney. So you've ever heard the saying, frame or be framed?
Mhm.
You want to be able to frame the conversation and the questions that you have with them. It's like, all right, I found these, in a 15-page report, I found these 3 that give me the most concern. One of them is from Germany. And then the attorney looks at those. If the attorney then decides it's like, all right, I need to go back to this classification and take another look, at least now they've got a squished down frame that they're working within. So it doesn't take as much of their billable time.
Right. Okay.
All right. So
All right.
what I do is I'll send you an email with the form. You download the form to your desktop, fill it in because the site is time sensitive for security. And then what you do is go ahead, and then it's just a cut and paste in there. You click on the button. You can use a credit card to pay for it. It's pretty straightforward. If you, for some reason, that time, you get on a phone call or something and that site does time out, you can send me back the form because it's exactly the same questions, and then I can send you an invoice. Sometimes I get older inventors that don't want to mess with the internet, and they say, no, send me the form and I'll send you the money. It's like, okay, that works.
So when you say time sensitive, it gives me like a day to fill it out, or is it like an hour, or when you send it?
Minutes. That's why we send you the form ahead of time. And it's only about 7 questions. It's a broad search. And then you will email any drawings or anything that you want them to be able to see and take a look at. So if you've got a picture, you'd email that back to the admin at SearchQuest, and then she sends it on to the searcher who's assigned to it.
Okay.
So that's why we don't, fill it out and then you just cut and paste. And it only takes you about 10 minutes to cut and paste it once you're in there.
Okay. But once you send it, I have to be ready on the computer to fill it out right away.
No. Once I send it, you download it to your desktop. You can fill it in whenever you want to.
Okay. So I'm missing something. What's the time
So
sensitive?
once you log into the site and you pay for it and the form comes up electronically, that's the time sensitive part.
Oh, the filling it out is the time sensitive.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay. All right. So that's that. So yeah, go ahead and send all that to me for the dust bucket.
Okay.
The second item is I've been traveling a lot, and I have my carry-on luggage,
Okay.
the overhead small, and it's got the lift up, this lift up type luggage. And you sit in the airport, there's no tables, there's no place to put you got your cell phone, you got your bottle of water, you got your bag of chips, whatever you carry. There's nowhere to set anything. You set it on top of your suitcase, it falls over. So I'm like, what's out there? So I went out online and found some things, and I found some devices that you can Velcro right here.
Mm-hmm.
And when you Velcro them, you can put your bottle of water right there. I'm like, oh, that's great. But then what do I do with it when I go in the airplane? I got to get rid of it and store it somewhere, so I don't have any place to put this device that's hanging here in the middle. So I made this prototype, and it's basically a squishable, non-breakable place for your cell phone and the bottle of water. Okay. It hangs around this. I would use like a shoestring or something, whatever. And then when you're strolling around the airport, you got your water and your phone, whatever. You sit down at your place where you want to, sit waiting to get on the plane. I don't know if you can see that. And then, so you have your bottle of water next to your chair, you have your phone, and then you get called to the gate. So you go to the gate, you roll onto the plane, you get your chair, your seat on the plane, you put this in the seat, you take this, put it up above.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Can you see me?
All I see right now is a bottle of water. So yeah, there you go.
So once you get on the plane, you empty the 2 items out. It's squishable. It's not breakable. You take it, you put it up above. It squishes down.
Yeah.
Close the door. Get out, undo it, lift it up, put your bottle of water back in, get off the plane.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, I like that. And part of it is I can see, multiple uses. Backpack when you're hiking, a lot of times you've got all kinds of pockets, but you never quite have enough. That would be an easy addition. Kids going off to school. So an easy addition when all the other pockets are full. Just even being able to go around the handles of a purse.
Right.
All right. I don't carry a backpack on my day-to-day stuff.
Right.
And my husband already complains that my purse is too heavy, but there are times when I'm walking and I need a place for my phone and my bottle of water.
Yeah.
Something that I can put on. If you make the handle expandable so that it could go around your waist, it gives a little more depth to it. You can say, put it on your suitcase, put it on, multiple things. You can even put it around your waist.
Right.
Mainly because when I just got back from the hardware show and I had nowhere to put my phone.
Right.
If I wasn't carrying my purse that weighs 10 pounds.
Right. Yeah. So the only other thing I found on the market was the thing that goes here. And then have you ever seen those plastic? They're flush and it folds down and then a little ring comes up where you can put a can of soda and it's made out of plastic. Have you ever seen those?
I have not.
Well, when you do a Google search, you'll find photos of it if you go to photos or whatever. But it's a device that they stick. I think they stick it right here, and it only holds one can of soda.
Okay.
But it's plastic, so it's going to break and it's going to come off or whatever. So that device and the thing that goes here is the only things I've ever found on Google search, Amazon, everything I've ever looked for. But anyway, so that's my second idea.
Okay. All right. Like I said, I travel enough. And certainly, pre-pandemic, I was on a plane every other month. Certainly understand the need for it. I tote things everywhere. So certainly understand, the value of having something that fits on my suitcase that I can have multiple uses for. So yeah, I think that's a big deal. Again, same steps. So for me, if I'm looking at the cost, there's two issues and only you can decide. All right. One is the cost of the prototypes for the holder is going to be less than the one for the bucket. On the other hand, the one for the bucket, I think, has got more value and potential use. So when we look at, going out the door with first search and, getting something into the market where you've spent a ton of money really on getting those prototypes done, you might want to go and work on that one first and then use the other one as the backup. I get a lot of inventors who've got multiple ones and they kind of pull the trigger, they get one going and then they pull the trigger on the next one. So you're the only one who can make that determination. I was like, no, I want to, this is how I want to do it.
Right. Yeah.
All right. I can see both of them.
So this, I don't have a provisional or anything on. This is not protected at all.
All right. So then, when you do the search, it stays confined. All right. The searchers have all signed non-disclosure, non-competes with the company. So you're covered with them. And they've all got their feet on the ground in the US. And they're all, librarians with a master's and working in the library industry. So you're good on that part. And so, you get to pick, you can say, you know what, I just want to get both searches done so I know what to focus on. You can do that too, whatever floats your boat.
Well, I'm presenting to you, if it cost me $1,000 to do both the searches, and then, 6 months from now, we have license deals for both of them. Maybe we don't get anything for any of them. I don't know.
Yeah. But, and, what we look at is at a minimum for a licensee. All right. They want to have a non-provisional filed. It doesn't have to issue. All right. And they want proof of concept prototypes. So, you're down the road with at least the prototype part of it. You've got proof of concept prototypes. But you need to be able, they only are going to look at a non-provisional that was filed by a registered patent attorney. There's 4 questions that they ask me when they show that initial interest. What problem did you solve? How did you solve it? Did a registered patent attorney do the filing? And can we make it at a price the consumer is willing to pay for it? And those are the 4 questions. After that, then, Now we do, start doing videos and sharing more information, and the letter of intent comes after that. Those are basically the 6 bullet points that we iron out via emails and video calls. And if we can't come to an agreement on those 5 or 6 bullet points, then we don't worry about a contract, because those are the main points in the contract. And so then they sign up a letter of intent, and then either this side of the party or the licensee side of the party presents a licensing agreement. I like it when we can present, but that doesn't happen very often. Generally, it's the licensee who presents the contract. If we present it, I know what's in the contract. I know how all the lines connect. I don't have to read it as hard when we get it back and they're asking questions as I do on the one where they present it, because there's always little nuances to it, and it's like reading a murder mystery. So you got to make sure that you know who done it, that gets clearly identified, and that's kind of the way we look at it. But if we don't get those 6 bullet points agreed to, at least verbally, it's silly to go to a contract.
Right. Okay. All right. Yes. Well, I would like to start with both and go forward with them. Now, with the part you do with your licensing and then the sales, have you only sell a product after it's been on the market and has sales, or is there people out that are looking to purchase ideas from the get-go?
You don't want to do it that way. All right. There are, but they will pay you pennies on the dollar of the eventual value.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When you tee it up, all right, and license it, the time frame that we look at for a buyout is usually at about 4 years,
right,
on average, because that's when the product reaches its stride. That's when it's got the greatest value for a buyout. If you just try to sell, the patent part of it, the way they look at it is like, well, up to this point, it has not produced anything. We don't have proof of the product in the marketplace. So, we'll buy your patent for 20 cents on the dollar. And, when people kind of get stuck and they can't move forward a lot, sometimes they will do that, but it's not advisable because you lose simply because they can squeeze the value.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that sounds good.
Show me your other one. Show me the dryer.
Oh, you want the dryer vent? I don't have. Let me go. I got to go grab one.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right.
Well, it's in my garage. It's right here. So you want to see the dryer vent?
No, I want to talk to you about the dryer vent. You can
Okay.
send me pictures of the dryer vent.
Okay.
Right.
Well, you can go to my website.
Oh, all right. All right. I'll do that. I've got your card. So,
Well, I'll send you my website address.
Send me the website. All
Okay.
right. That's the one I want you to be able to talk about, because you've been selling it on the radio show on Monday.
Okay.
All right. So what I do is I'm going to send you a short list of the things I need from you. All right. Name, rank, and serial number, basically. Name, phone number, name of product, website. Very simple stuff. If you've got any social media, we post all those links for you. And then a brief bio about you, 4 or 5 lines. And then what I do is I send you back a layout of, who all is going to be on the show. All right. Who our expert is. I mean, this one we're talking about the marketing versus market research. So what did you do then in your market research to decide, yes, I'm going to go through with this, that there is a need for this. And you gave me some of those numbers. And then the follow-up question is, how is that different from marketing and the story that you tell people to get them to buy it? So that's our issue on Monday. So it's pretty straightforward. I send you the questions ahead of time. It goes by really fast. And then we do a video. All right. And we match the video up with the radio show, and we give all of your information. So if people wanted to order one from you, they can find you easily. That's when I want you to have it with you so you can show exactly what it does. And then we will insert pictures into the video, because Mike will go ahead and do the editing for it. So he can add photographs and that kind of thing. And it goes out then to 8 different social media platforms, is it what we're streaming on, in addition to the radio,
Okay.
on 100 different channels.
So on Monday, you said it's not live. So
Correct.
Monday's a recording?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Monday is the radio recording. It goes out then the following Saturday afternoon,
Okay.
100 stations across the country. It is that segment, that 3-hour segment. I'm doing 1 hour in the middle for Invent America, but that segment is the #1 radio show in America for the do-it-yourselfers.
Okay.
So it's got a good following. Michael's terrific host. And so we've got an hour of home talk. Then we've got the hour of Invent America and then another hour of home talk.
Okay.
Our listeners are about 50-50 men and women. They love listening to the inventors tell their stories and then knowing what new products are out there that they can go look for and where do they look for them.
Right. Okay. So is this by video, by phone only? How is it done?
Yes. All right. The radio show, that part of the recording is by phone. All right. So
Okay.
they just call you up on whatever phone number is best. And then
Okay.
when we do video, we do it like this.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. What time on Monday?
You are Eastern time, so it will be 2:00.
Cool.
About 2:15. Because Michael and I do the beginning where we talk about the issue. And
Okay.
then we get you on first, and then we get the second inventor on, and then we get our expert on.
Okay.
All right. When it's just the video, then it's just you and me. We talk back and forth. You get to show your product, talk about the product, tell where people can go buy the product. We really try to make it an opportunity for you to get it out there and let people know you exist. And then we post it on the website, on all the platforms. So we really, try to boost then.
Right.
And then I've got a few inventors that, say, okay, this has been great. Where do I advertise? And so a couple of them have looked at pulling the trigger to start advertising their product on the show, because we had the one guy did Clean Can Solutions, paid $6,000 for a one-page ad.
Right.
I said, Dave, for $6,000, you could have advertised for 6 months on, Invent America with all the platforms. And he goes, well, it would have been nice to know that before I signed the contract.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I really hadn't thought about it as a comparison like that. Michael King has had, inventors selling product as his sponsors and doing their commercials for 20 years. And I just never thought about it. I was thinking of, attorneys and, market people and all of that kind of stuff as the sponsors. And I'm thinking, okay, well, my bad on that. I should have been thinking about my inventors wanting to be able to get their products out there.
Right.
So,
Right.
but that's, we've been starting to post that. So if you hear that in the middle when you listen to it, I will send you some links so you'll be able to see what radio stations in your area are carrying it. And then you can put that out, tell your friends.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I'll send you that. Well, send me all your stuff. I'll respond to it all. And
yeah, send me that. I'm going to go ahead and create then the file for you. So then any pictures or anything else you have, that file will be shared just with you and me and Kat.
okay.
All right. Did you meet her at the show? She was there.
I did not. No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No.
So who did you talk to at the show besides me?
Jay.
Jay Calhoun. That's right.
Yeah. I walked into the booth and I was like looking at all these different ideas and different things. And I saw Inventor Lady. And I said, so are you the Inventor Lady? And he just laughed. And, then I asked him the program, it was really intriguing with it. And then he introduced me to you, and that it was right at the beginning of the show. So I knew you were busy. I'm like, well, I'll just get in touch with you later. And
well, it was every show is crazy busy, which is good. We've moved up. I've been doing this, I think, 17 years with the hardware show. And so, we've moved up from being, 35 square feet tucked back by the, cargo loading docks and freezing, to, being in the front with 600 square feet and stuff. And we stuck through every show through the pandemic. We did not miss a beat. So now we are at the top of the list for being able to pick our spot, which is really nice.
Nice. Good deal. Do you do any other trade shows besides the hardware show?
That is the big one that I do, where I negotiate and put it all together and, get everything going. I've done a lot of other shows where I'm going with the inventor to do a show, or the inventor asks me to go on their behalf. But that's the only one, because we've got a locker in Las Vegas and we put all of the furniture and everything in there. And so trying to, tote that to Orlando or Chicago just seems rather silly.
Right. Gotcha. Cool.
And it was cheaper having a locker than it was renting a truck to move it back and forth every year.
Sure. So you just leave it out there.
Yep. It cost me less to put it in a locker out there than it did to rent it, for one thing, because renting all of that stuff once was more than the cost of the value of buying it and storing it every year.
Right.
And toting it back and forth to Denver. I had to put it in a locker back in Denver anyway. I said, I might as well leave it here.
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
we learned.
Yeah.
We learned. And eventually, you know, that's, you know, I suppose when they stop having trade shows, we'll, you know, we'll get rid of all of it. But it's, you know, at one point we laid down all of our own carpet because they had us back by the cargo walls, and they wouldn't let us, you know, they wouldn't lay down the carpet until the day before the show started. Well, it takes 2 days to set up all that stuff.
Right.
So I had everybody, you know, we got in there and we laid carpet squares out. And then when we went from 400 square feet to the 600 square feet, it's like, all right, let's have them come in and lay it down now. So we did. But the first time we did that, I pushed their buttons, so they had to change the pricing structure. It's like, there you go.
Right. Nice. Yeah.
Oh, Lordy.
Good
So
deal.
anyway, I will send you that stuff. I will send you the link to the Google Drive, so that when you get that, you'll know what it is. And that's just the one that anything you're sharing with us, instead of trying to get it to me one way or the other, you just put it in the file, and then we all know what we're all looking at.
Okay.
All right, sir.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Sounds good. Thank you, Rita.
Bye-bye.
Bye.